Thank you very much, TA, and thanks to whoever asked that question. I mean, it's evident, isn't it? And I'll use an analogy that is very, very simple and relatable. It's like saying, why do we need to change our shoe sizes as we're growing up? Why do we need to sew new clothes as we, so for someone like me, I go up and down. So I'm exercising, I go down. I relax, I add weight. I can't use the same clothes I used when I was slimmer to when I add weight, right? So that's the way it is. Transformation is necessarily a desired state. We cannot stay stagnant. So a lot of us have said in terms of national outlook, we try to comfort ourselves and say that, you know what, Europe, America, the Eastern world, the Western world have come through where we are today before they got to the point where they are in their own form of government and leadership. It's the truth. However, they are not using the same principles and the same strategy that they used 50, 100 years ago to sustain themselves today. That's why transformation is important. And that's why transformation is a journey. And again, that's why it's not just about the need for that transformation, it's about how we actually transit to get there. So for us to be able to continue to be relevant, continue to play in our spaces, either in the workplace or in the global world, we must be ready to evolve. Because of course, again, the environment is changing. We can't raise, my big sister, Ms. Abida, who is a grandmother now, and I'm sure that, the way you were raised is not the way you raised my aburos. It's different. And if you have my little ones, the grandchildren with you, it's not the same way you raise their parents. They're going to raise them. Every time, thank you, Ma, every time we must respond to change and be ready to transform. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe that also answered the question here. So I have another question. How do you think HR can impact the Nigeria polity? What do you think HR should take? Should be concerned, or should even take part? How do you think we can do that, leveraging on office as HR manager? That question is not directed to any person or anybody in particular, but I think any of our guest speaker can pick it.
Okay, so let me take that.
Okay, yes.
Let me take that. Okay, thank you, Esther, and thank you, TA. Yes, HR, human resource in every organization in Nigeria, in any state, the workforce is the key. I call them the oxygen by which members of staff breathe. The moment you choke them, they're gone. So we need human resource. Like I said earlier, you need mindset shift. You need to groom your workforce. And it is the HRD, the human resource that you've recruited appropriately, that you've onboarded appropriately, you've trained them, you've placed them in the right place, you keep retraining them so that they can learn and unlearn and relearn, you keep monitoring their career path or trajectory from entry to exit. It is when the HR are well groomed that they'll be able to change the mindset of our people. This brings me to Lee Kuan Yew, the former president of Singapore.
Hello?
He said, Singapore, a fishing village, he realized that until the mindset of the Singaporeans were changed before anything can change. Remember General Idi Agbon then. Gone were the days that nobody dared drop any dirt on the floor. All this, if you can remember, had dustbins in their buses, and everybody threw their debris into it. And whenever they got to their parks, they emptied all these bins. Vehicles that didn't have bins were arrested. So it is the human being, it is the human brain. The moment we're able to change the mindset of Nigerians, let's come back home, then we'll have a better nation. The moment the Nigerian that will wind down his car to throw out the wrapper of gala will get to London and put the wrap of his sweets in his pocket. So why do they do that? It's because consequence management has not been entrenched. The moment people are used as scapegoats, they will, the way my organs used to say, they will reset their brains. They will reset their brains. So it is HR, every HR in every small place, be it a ministry, a department, an agency, private sector, once they change the mindset, paradigm shift, new learnings of everyone, the polity, the Nigeria itself will be a better place. Thank you. Thank you, TA.
Sincere apologies. I didn't know my mic is muted. Okay, thank you so much for that. So I have another question for you before we wrap it up. And again, I said if you have any question or you have a response or a contribution to any of these questions, you also can contribute by raising up your hand, and we will get the mic unmuted for you. So what were the challenges you encountered in leading change in Lagos State as an HR professional? And how did you navigate the hurdles? I think that question is straight to Mrs.
Yeah, beautiful. And I will tell you exactly how it works. OHA. Right. When in 2013, when the erstwhile governor, BRF, Babatunde Raji Fashola, started, of course, personnel administration had always been on, and then the need to professionalize HRM started. We started by gathering a group of 58 unpicked people. Majorly, most of us were from the private sector that were headhunted into the public sector. So we were unpicked, and then we started stage by stage. We are the implementation working group. We had the steering group, because remember, without leadership buy-in, nothing will thrive. So the buy-in of our principal, the governor, was there. The buy-in of the head of service was there, practically all the ESCO members. And then we started. So these 58 of us were attached with specific ministries. Maybe two of us could be attached to about 6 ministries. You know, we have many ministries. And then we started, after we had been trained, there was a Spark DFID training, proper training. We were really groomed for it. And then we were attached to ministries. And each time we got to particular ministries, you know, remember, we had our elders there. The elders, you know, those ones we call the old schools, who actually felt that all these millennial officers, they have already come into Alausa to Alausa, that was the term, that we had come to disrupt, to scatter. Because, you know, the culture, remember the culture was there. The culture of saying sir and ma, papansut, the culture of you being very, very subservient was there. But we had been ardent, where, you know, sort of ardent us that, look here, this is what the governor wants, this is what leadership wants, and we should do it. But of course, the Omoluabi in us made us to still, you know, that this is how it should be. And then all the admin departments were divided into bespoke divisions. 5, we had every ministry must have it. We had we have workforce planning, learning and development, employee relations, HR. Ministries or agencies that were small could merge into 3, but they must have the 5 unique divisions. And so each time we went on visitations, like a monitoring thing, like mystery shoppers, some would say, what is your wahala? All these things, when did you people grow up that you want to do this? No, we are not going to do that. And we took notes. We took notes. of everything. We took notes of those that didn't want it to fly. We took notes of those that actually embraced it. And each time we went back to the steering committee that was made up of permanent secretaries, we gave the feedback. We escalated our issues to them. And, you know, in their own ways, without this seeming as if we reported our orgas, remember? They sort of ensured that what we wanted to in place was in place. And gradually, from 2013 to 2015, when the new public service rules was published, we had the civil service rules that had lots of laws. So we shifted to public service rules that were so humane, aligned, you know, lots of leaves. And that was why in Nigeria, Lagos State was the first public sector that introduced 6 months leave, maternity leave, 10 days paternity leave, 2 weeks compassionate leave if you lose an in-law or sudden misfortune. And so that was how we continued and continued. We're not there yet, but I know that we're swearing, but we really, really want to swear. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. No wonder Lagos State has kind of become the prototype for other states, the 36 states of the Federation.
Yes, please.
To follow.
Yes.
We must say a very big
other states come to do study tours. So many states come to do study tours with us.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You're making HR proud in that space, and we really appreciate you for that wonderful job. So right now, we're going to be having you share with us your parting words as we proceed to the next on the agenda, the next episode of this, the next session rather, of today's event. So Dr. Esther Amoye, please, let's have your parting words.
Thank you so very much. I mean, I would have loved to actually continue to stay on and on. I have listened to Mrs. Abida Kun talk before, and she is actually a bundle and a wealth of knowledge on ourselves. We should just, keep being flag bearers. We can't give up. For people to be, you will be located in your location, and you get your allocations. For Mr. Abida to be located and head-hunted is because there's value. So what is critical for us is we must continue to consciously create and deliver value, notwithstanding what it is we may be seeing around us. Let's make sure people know us. They know our pedigree, they know what we stand for, they know what we can deliver, and then they can count on us all the time. And that's the only way Nigeria can count on us, and then we can deliver for this nation. Thank you very much for having me. I wish everybody all the best. I have another session in a few minutes, so I will be taking my leave from here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Mrs. Olubusola Abida, please, let's have your parting words as well.
Yes, yes. I just like I tell my my group that no one is useless unless you use them less. Make yourself visible. Let people know you. Just like my sister Moye said, give in your best. Don't look for the financial gains. Give your all. Do your best. And like my sister said again, you will be located. I'm grateful to God that I was located and I've been located in a particular place. And that is what I tell people every time. Gonnabes don't get the honey. It's the wannabes that get the honey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man, for that wonderful presentation. The closing remarks from your hand. So right about now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on a short break, and we'll be back with the Human Capital Development series, where we'll be having Emmanuel Michael speaking to us, and we'll be having Grace Uwadia speaking to us, and we'll also be having Coach Yomi Oladunjoye speaking to us. Now, this topic speaks directly to what we do as HR. We want to learn How do you help your employees, build strategic career that focus on national development, just like what we are seeing right now. I like the word Mrs. Abidakun used, said from brain drain to brain gain, right? So how can we encourage our talent who are, being shipped away from this shore of the country, use their knowledge acquired to develop the nation, and even people that are going. A lot of people don't know what they are going to meet, where they are going. All right, it's not bad to travel, but traveling without, as a result of fear, as a result of loss of hope, it's a tragedy to our identity, to our image as a nation, and we must see what we can do to prevent it. We are the right person to do this job as HR professionals, and these are the things we're going to be discussing while we come back. Thank you so much. Coach Yomi, good to see you. Please exercise a little more patience. Thank you so much, Coach Olubusola Abidakun. I'm sure you are still around. If you can, I'll be very glad to have you around while the remaining of our speakers, present their presentation. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you.
Listen to the president, CIPM president, he spoke, and then eventually I listened to Kemi, so where she talked about leadership and some of the things that she had shared. I might re-emphasize a little bit of some of them. So I'm going to start by, since we're talking about national sustainability through strategic career and personal development, let's start by, first of all, try to understand what exactly is sustainability. Because we're talking about national sustainability, we actually need to know what is sustainability before we then move to national sustainability and how does your strategic career or personal development come into play, in this sustainability. So there's a definition by Santander. Okay, it's a financial establishment in the US. They define sustainability as sustainability consists of fulfilling the needs of current generations, okay, without compromising the needs of future generations, while ensuring a balance between economic growth, environmental care, and social well-being. Let me just take it again. Sustainability consists of fulfilling the needs of the current generations without compromising the needs of future generations, while ensuring a balance between economic growth, environmental care, and social well-being. So basically, for me, in simple layman's term, this is telling me that for something to be sustainable, it means I need to be doing something now, okay, that impacts me, impacts people who are with me. So what are we doing now that's impacting our society, impacting our immediate family, impacting our workplace, and then ultimately impacting the whole country? Okay, so what are we doing? And how is it that thing that we're doing, how will it help the future generation? As we know, the world is changing, and as we say, change is something that is constant. Okay, change is the only thing that is constant across the world. So what we're doing, how is it impacting what is going to happen tomorrow? Okay, and then is there a balance as we're doing what we're doing today? How is it impacting tomorrow? Is there a balance with our environment? Is there a balance with our well-being? So when you now link it up to our career, the question you need to be asking yourself is, what are you doing with your career today? What are you doing with your personal development today? How is it helping you to become a good person? How is it helping you to become better today? How is it helping to prepare you for tomorrow? Because things are changing, and as organizations are becoming digital organizations tomorrow, are you acquiring the right skills that will help you to be relevant right now? Okay, to be relevant tomorrow. And what are some of those things that you've done, okay, in the past that are actually relevant for today? Maybe there are some skills that you've acquired that are still relevant, that you acquired yesterday that are still relevant today. So for me, that's something around sustainability. Then let's go a little bit further to national sustainability. Okay, when we talk about national sustainability, how do we measure that? You discover that United Nations came up with a sustainability index or a sustainable development program, and they have 17 goals how they want to measure sustainability. So I'll just walk through those 17 and then focus on one that is relevant to our career. Okay, the first one talks about one of the sustainability goals talks about the need to end poverty in all its form everywhere. Okay, so that's one goal. For a nation to be said to be sustainable, okay, or to have attained that national sustainability, number one goal is that they should be able to end poverty in all forms everywhere. Number two, end hunger. Okay, so poverty related to hunger, end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. So that's goal number two. Goal number three, ensure healthy lives, promote well-being for all at all ages. Okay. Then number four, which is somehow key to our career now. Goal number four talks about ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So the question you need to ask yourself, how are you investing in your education, in your personal development? Are you making any investments? Okay. Are you a lifelong learner? If you are not, then it means that you are taking away from your contribution to helping the nation become sustainable. So goal number four is very key, and I'm very passionate about goal number four. If you look at all that I do, for those of you who follow me across social media platform, all my efforts are focused around this goal number four. Okay. Then goal number five talks about achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal six talks about ensuring availability and sustainable management of water sanitation. Goal number seven talks about ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, modern energy for all. Now, coming to goal number eight, which is also something that is key to my heart and also relevant for what we're doing today. It talks about promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. The only way we can achieve this is when we have the kind of workforce that is fully developed, just like as we talked about earlier. Okay, the workforce that we have today, if they are not fully developed, okay, or like as Coach Abidako was mentioning, what they did in the ministry, trying to make sure that people, they started first by them acquiring the required knowledge, okay, and you can see how that knowledge that they acquired helped them to improve the operations with the Lagos state government. That is leading towards sustainability. And when we begin to develop those sustainable practices in our small public institutions, small private institutions, before you know it, it will snowball to become something that becomes national. Okay, it impacts the whole country. So goal number four and goal number eight are key to my mind. So there are still others. 9 talks about building resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive, sustainable industrialization, reduce inequity within among countries, make cities, human settlements inclusive, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns, take urgent action to combat climate change, conserve and sustainably use oceans, protect, restore, promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainably manage forests, combat desertations, and halt and reserve land degradations and halt biodiversity loss, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions across levels. How do you build accountability and inclusiveness? Education, knowledge is very key, okay? Development of the workforce is very key for you to be able to do that. If you don't develop your people will not know how to, when we talk about in organizations, relationships, conflicts will always arise. And the only way you are able to get this sorted out is when people are developed, know exactly how to relate with one another. And then finally, goal 17 talks about strengthening the means of implementation and revitalize global partnership for sustainable development. So my focus is basically on goal number 4 and 8. So goal number 4, which talks about we becoming lifelong learners. And then goal number 8, when you become a lifelong learner, what it does for you is it helps you to become equipped so that you can become a full and productive employee, full and productive person, a whole person, okay? And so this then leads me to, how do you begin to equip yourself or to prepare yourself, okay? How do you begin to prepare yourself to be able to contribute to this national sustainability? And one key thing that is critical is you having a strategic career and personal development plan. If you don't have a strategic career and personal development plan, you will be doing everything and all things, okay? A career and personal development plan will help you to be focused such that you begin to see the long term. Where do I want to be? What do I want to achieve? And then put a plan in place which you will then begin to work on. And as we looked at the definition of sustainability, what would that do for you? It helps you to become relevant today. It helps you to become relevant tomorrow, okay? And as you're doing all that, as you become relevant today and becoming relevant tomorrow, you are contributing to developing the country, you're contributing to developing the organization where you work, you're also contributing to developing yourself, your society, your community, okay? So I'm going to share with us 5 key steps that you need to take in order to come up with a strategic career and personal development plan that will help you to not only become relevant today, but you also become relevant for tomorrow. Okay, so you prepare yourself for tomorrow so that when things change, you are relevant at all times. There will be no time that you will be out of the game. You know, if you look at what happened to Nokia, yes, they were relevant at a particular time, but because they were not preparing, looking forward to what's going to happen tomorrow, they lost out when tomorrow came. If you look at what happened to Kodak, okay, even though Kodak was one of the pioneers of digital camera, but today they're no longer playing in that space, okay? So somehow they lost out a bit in that particular tomorrow that has just arrived today. So what are these steps? So the first step, okay, is that you need to know where you are going. You need to know where you are going. That's the first step, okay? What is your destination, okay? Where do you want to get to in your career? What exactly do you want to achieve in your career? You need to know that place. And in order to help you understand what you or where you are going, you know, I talked about not throwing away what has happened in the past, okay? So some of the questions that you need to consider would be, what are my past experiences? What are your past experiences? What sort of experiences have you gathered in the past? Okay, what do you enjoy doing? Those are some of the questions you need to ask and answer to enable you assess where you want to where you want to go. Okay, so first of all, you determine where you are today. Okay. The next question you then ask yourself is, what kind of natural skills and talents do I have? What am I doing when I feel most excited or motivated at work? Do I prefer leading a group, working with peers, or working alone? What is it that energizes me? What is it that drains my energy? Okay. Do I have a specific life? Do I have a specific calling in life? Okay. What about my career motivates me to get up in the morning, go to work in the morning? Okay, what is that thing? So those are some of the analysis that you need to carry out. All the questions you need to ask yourself, answer them, provide answers to this. Then to enable you identify, okay, this is where I am today. You know, this is where I am today. The experience I've gathered from yesterday, this is where I am today. And then the next thing that you then need to look at, where do you want to go to, okay? What is your destination? In order to arrive at your destination, you need to brainstorm. Brainstorming is very key to identify what is that will be relevant tomorrow, what is going on, what are the skills that are required for tomorrow. And then you then begin to develop more specific goals in the form of concrete statements. Looking at the skills that are required tomorrow, what specifically would I want to do? Where will I want to see myself? Consider maybe the next 5 years, the next 10 years. What do you want to see? Okay. When you've identified this is where you want to go, you've also itemized this is who I am today. Okay. The next thing that you then need to focus is putting these two together. You need to begin to identify the gaps. This is where I want to be tomorrow. This is where I am. So let's even take an example. Let's say, for instance, today, you're just a fresh graduate and you want to become an HR director in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years. You want to be an HR director and you're just fresh from school. Okay. What do you then do? The first step is you know that you are a fresh graduate. The second step is that you want to become an HR director. So you pick up the HR director job profile, put it together. Okay. Now this is who you are. That takes you to the next step, which is the third step, where you then do what I call a gap analysis. Okay. This gap analysis enables you to determine this is where I am, this is where I want to go. What is the gap? What is it that I have? Okay, that will help me become this HR director tomorrow. Okay, and then itemize those things. And then you also, like the forum that we have today, is an opportunity for you to network with professionals, ask questions, try to find out what is it that will make you to be successful in that career. Okay, when you've done all that analysis, okay, determining the gap between where you are and where you want to be, the next thing you need to do is to try to rate those qualifications, skills that you have, group them together, okay, identify patterns. When you group them together and identify patterns, it makes it easy for you to say, okay, all these skills that I don't have, this is what I need to do to address them. And that leads you to basically coming up with a plan, okay? Coming up with a plan that will help you to address those gaps, okay? And in coming up with a plan to address the gaps, don't just come up with one big lofty plan. Say, for instance, you need to acquire maybe CIPM certification is one of the things that you need, okay? If CIPM certification is one of the things that you need to be able to list in small tasks. How do I go about acquiring the CIPM certification? Are you going to write exam? Maybe because you're a fresh graduate, you need to write exams. So how long will it take you to write exams? Which course are you going to write first? Which course are you going to write next? And all that. Then you have a timetable. So aside from the knowledge acquisition, you also need some sort of experience. So is it internship experience that you need to acquire? Which organizations are you going to go to acquire this internship experience? So have a timetable. Okay, you have a timetable, list the tasks, have a timetable, and then make sure that the goals that you are putting down, they're actually very smart. Create a task deadline. I need to do this by so time. Okay. If you don't have a deadline, if you set a long deadline, you will discover that you will relax because the deadline is very long. But if you set a short deadline, it makes you to work very hard and very fast to ensure that you are able to do what you need to do. And then eventually, the last step, which is the fifth step now, is there's need for you to measure your progress. So as you are carrying out these tasks, okay, the plan that you've developed, there's need for you to measure your progress. And as you measure your progress, you will reevaluate. Maybe there's need to change. Now you've done CIPM and feel, oh, I want to be a global HR person. It means that acquiring just a national certification is not enough. I need to get a global HR certification. So which HR global certification do I go for? Which one will be relevant for my desire, okay, in this career that I'm trying to build? Okay, so those are some of the things. So you keep track of that, consider milestones. And each time you achieve any of the milestones, celebrate, okay? As you celebrate your milestone, people begin to identify with you. Okay, people begin to identify with you, and as they identify with you, they will locate you, just like as the other speaker talked about. You'll be located where you are. You know, like Abidakon was headhunted. So maybe you're doing something nice, good somewhere else, and because you're celebrating your successes and your achievement, you will be located, and that will help you to be identified and headhunted to do something for another organization. So these are the 5 steps that are critical, okay, for you if you want to begin to build on your career. And when you do this, what does it then do? It helps to contribute to the organization that you work for, or even to the society, makes you relevant. And by doing that, you are helping to achieve some of the national sustainability development goals that the country is setting out for itself. So to summarize what I've just shared, the 5 steps are: identify your current position, identify your destination, do a gap analysis, create a career development plan for yourself. From that, measure your progress and be ready to reevaluate. And if we go back to where I started, talking about the definition of sustainability, sustainability consists of fulfilling the needs of current generation without compromising the needs of future generation, while ensuring a balance between economic growth, environmental care, and social well-being. So that's basically what I have for you. So I was asked to speak for 15 minutes. I hope I didn't spend too much time. Thank you very much. So I'll take questions if there is any, or we'll wait at the end of the session
Yes.
for the panel questions.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, boss. Thank you. God bless you. That's wonderful.